everybody. I'm Adam.
I'm Stephanie.
And we're here from the Eclectic Gamer to bring you this month in Eclectic Gaming.
Woo!
For August 2015, for all you people from the future. So, August was a little bit crazy. And why is that stuff?
It was Gen Con month,
Yeah.
which meant not only was there craziness at Gen Con, but then we brought a whole bunch of craziness back from Gen Con.
Well, and it just inspires you to want to get
And
other
it inspires
games, right?
you to do a whole bunch of craziness, yeah.
Yeah. So, what was your favorite thing at Gen Con?
My favorite thing was the Imperial Settlers Atlanteans expansion. I loved that game.
A lot.
And the Atlanteans expansion, I thought it was just going to be like another faction so that maybe you could play up to 5 players. But instead, it added a whole new mechanic of technology tokens. And it was extremely thematic in that all of their buildings sync at their location, their faction locations sync at the end of the game. So you have to score everything as you're playing, which I think I predominantly played the Romans prior to that. And it's like the exact opposite mechanic, so that was crazy. I really enjoyed.
Doesn't it specifically say you have to be insane to play with 5 players, though?
Oh yeah, I would never want to play that game with 5 players. Even 4 players is
not recommended.
There's so
right?
much downtime in between some turns. It's crazy. So yeah. How about you, Adam? What was your favorite thing?
I don't know if I had a favorite. I mean, I like going to Gen Con and walking through the halls, but there wasn't really a big release this year. I think that's probably the reason. A lot of people are saying that there wasn't something super crazy. Everyone was excited for the U.S. release of Mysterium, but Asmodee, I feel, kind of botched that rollout. They only there was production problems apparently, and they only brought 300 copies of it, which is fine. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But they didn't do the thing that some companies have done in the past, which is sell them all on Thursday, and then the rest of the weekend be sorry. But what they did do is they had 100 each day. But on the first day, they let press and VIGs, very important gamers, in an hour early. And from what I understand is it was sold out
halfway through
the VIG hour.
Yeah.
So if you were regular admission, didn't have a chance.
And then on the subsequent days, we lined up.
We got in line on Friday
on the next day,
hour and 15 minutes early
to try to get in. And we weren't at the front row. We were I ended up walking in about the 3rd row of people to get in because I shimmied my way up there. But we didn't even stand a chance. So we found out that all of the other vendors were hovering around, and then as soon as they called it's time to open, they all got in line. So by the time the front of the people lining up were able to get into the line, they kind of
all the copies were gone, or maybe a couple
didn't
people
have
got
hope.
it.
So,
but
so that was a fail.
I would have preferred they do something everyone for the first hour put your name in a raffle, and then we'll raffle them off, or we'll put it on Twitter or something. That way, everyone feels like they had a chance. As it was.
Well, I mean, if you're only going to sell it to the other vendors, then why even announce that you're going to have it for sale? Why not just tell the other vendors you're going to have it for sale?
And part of the thing that bugged me a lot too was they had planned for this to be the big release. This wasn't.
Oh yeah, they were advertising this game everywhere.
So every time you went,
you advertised it, but you couldn't buy it.
Every time you went on Board Game Geek to check something, it was Mysterium available at Gen Con 2015. You're like, no, it's not. I'm here. I can't buy it.
And it was, it was Asmodee's big advertisement at the con too. So they had pictures of it everywhere and sort of mocking you.
That's not their fault, but I would have loved it if they did a raffle or something, just so you didn't.
Yeah, or a pre-order system or something.
Well, the pre-order with only 300 copies is.
Well,
at least it would have been fair.
They could have at least done a raffle that way.
There's a bunch of ways they could have.
Like I said, there was ways that they could have had the people. There's ways that they could have avoided the very uncomfortableness of having.
Because everyone just felt cheated.
Yeah,
right?
everybody felt cheated. Waiting in that line was certainly uncomfortable. Waiting in the crush of people outside the doors was uncomfortable, and it apparently should have been avoided. I guess we've learned our lesson.
Yeah, so. I mean, at this point, it's if it's limited release, don't go for it. I mean, I wasn't terribly interested in a bunch of the other things that ended up being big. New York 1901 seemed like a pretty light game, so I wasn't going to like rush through to get that.
Yeah.
Ashes: Rise of the Phoenix Born, sort of like a CCG, LCG.
I've heard great things about it, but I have to be honest, the theme does not appeal to me in the least.
Theme's not terribly great, but it does a handful of good. Like apparently, you get to choose your starting hand out of your deck, which is cool, so you don't feel like you got a terrible starting hand, and you roll dice to figure out what you can do, but. If I had to pick something, I mean, Flick 'em Up's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with it. We got that on the first day. They had a bunch of copies of it, but it's a dexterity flicking game, which adds the very simple rule that makes tone stuff down, which is you can't flick with your thumb as leverage. You have to just flick it,
which actually makes the game playable for me. It really hurts for my finger to do that. I have a nervous system disorder, so that really hurts. So just doing this is a million times.
That also just flings stuff all the way out, and a lot of times people mess up the board when they do that. So just by toning it down with a simple rule like that, it makes it a little more play. But it's cowboys, and they have little cowboy hats on them, so when you hit them, sometimes their hats fly off, and it's one of those games that the production quality is probably too high for it to be really popular.
Yeah,
but it's really cool.
To be honest, I felt kind of cheated by spending the $70 MSRP to buy it at the con, but it was also sold out everywhere. So I was at least felt fortunate that we were able to get a hold of something, and it's really silly. It's silly. You've played other dexterity games like Catacombs,
Rampage and Catacombs,
and it felt like a different level of silly to me than those games.
True. Your Rampage got sued and has to change their name because they didn't license it for the video game. Yeah, they have it's like Terror in Meepletown, which is actually a really good name.
That is a good name.
Anyway.
Wait, I've heard that name. I didn't realize that was the same name as Rampage.
Apparently.
So I think you are lying, though. I think your favorite game of the con was Codenames because
you've
now played that approximately 20 times.
It's so easy to do. So Codenames is the new Vlaada Chvátil game in his line of, I'm going to make old game shows and party games playable. So this is, it's like Password, but the idea is there's 25 words on the board, or phrases, they can be city names or something. And then two people are the spy masters, and they have a little code card that says, well, these 9 words are my spy's code names, and these 8 words are the other team's spy's code names. And there's some innocent bystanders, and there's one assassin. And you're trying to get your team to guess your spy's code names. And the way you do that is you can only give a 1-word clue. And then you say how many cards that applies to. So you might say spy 3. And you're saying that 3 of the words on the table are somehow related to spy and our teams, and then your team starts trying to guess those. And so the word might be gun because spies have guns, or secret because they're secret agents, or it could be fall because there's a James Bond movie called Spyfall, or I think 170 it could be roulette because spies play roulette in movies, and so it can be whatever kind of thing you want, but it takes probably 15 minutes, and it's actually really difficult.
Yeah.
To do, so you feel invested in it.
Telescope and
cheese or something,
Yeah, and bullet or something.
Yeah, and you're racking your brain trying to do it, and sometimes it ends up things well, they only have 1 word left, so I got to link these 3 or I lose. So it's fun though. A couple other ones that were good, or that we got Tides of Time.
Yeah, it's a cute little 2-player micro game that's kind of a good time waster, small time waster game. I really enjoyed it.
I haven't really gotten into micro games generally, but this is actually a good one, and it's only 18 cards, and you use all of them throughout the game. It's just a matter of what order you play them in. And
I see the potential for you running out on the strategy, figuring out what the optimal strategy is, and only being able to play that, and then be done with it.
You'd probably play it
not so far
60 times before you got there.
Yeah.
I think so.
So far, we're nowhere close to that.
You talked about that. We bought Artifact Sync with no knowledge of it. It was high on the geek list.
It was high on the hot list, I think.
On Board Game Geek.
The hotness on Board Game Geek, and the theme looked really cute.
And there were only 5 copies left.
They were super running out of copies, and it was cheap. So we were like,
25 bucks.
done. We only got to play it once. It's like a cute medium weight Euro game in which you're trying to buy art, or you're trying to dig up artifacts and sell them to a museum. And
you basically you roll a handful of dice for your actions. Certain actions need a 5 or a 6. Certain needs like a 3, 5, or 6. Some can do 2+. And so you're like, once you it gives that little bit of randomness to it.
Yeah, to make it not all the same.
So you can't always do exactly what you want, but it's very Euro, but it still feels like fun and you're making some cool choices.
Mm-hmm. We've only played that 2-player though so far.
That's true. We should try it again.
So we should.
You played it twice, I think.
Oh,
we should finish the one-on-one.
Yeah.
My random splurge of like, oh, this is a cute game, kind of called Missing Link. It's actually kind of similar to Codenames, where you get 2 cards and they're all silly like drawings, but it's just like 2 words. It'd be like house and puppy. And then you pick one to show to the other people and keep the other one secret, and you try to get them to guess the secret one by only saying things that are true about both of them, which is harder than you'd think it would be.
Right.
So my very first one when we demoed it, I got
I think TV and
television and taco.
Taco, yeah.
And so I said, they're both not traditionally part of an Italian dinner. And the lady was just like, taco, burrito. I'm like, yes, taco, okay.
Done. That was actually a big hit at our family barbecue, particularly with your 7-year-old sister.
Yeah, she had fun with it. But it's silly, easy to pick up. You can play 2 or 3 rounds of it, so it wasn't a bad $10.
Oh, yeah. So then a couple other games that we demoed. So we both demoed Castles of the Mad King Ludwig, the Secrets expansion.
Right, you hadn't played
I had never played this game before.
I played once, and that was a base expansion.
It was interesting. It's a game that I could potentially see picking up later, although I will say that trying to learn the regular rules and the rules for the secret passageways and the moats was a little like, whoa. And it's a very like analytical game, so...
I wasn't sure how you would like the spatial orientation part of it, because it's actually you're placing rooms and building out a castle if anyone's not familiar with it, but the rooms are all different shapes.
Yeah.
And so like some will be circles, some will be like ovular, some will be like different shaped rectangles, some will be squares. You got to kind of put them together, and sometimes it's not always 100% certain if they hit each other. But I thought you might not like that.
It was okay. I didn't have too many problems with things not connecting, but I also didn't make them anywhere close to fitting inside of the moat walls, so I just chose not to build a moat. So
that's fair. So then I played a couple that Stephanie didn't get to. I played the WWE Superstar Showdown or SmackDown or whatever it was. It's actually a pretty good game. It's only 2-player, which
anybody who's listened to our Swordcore Repeat knows Adam is a big wrestling WWE fan.
Yeah, but it was actually really interesting because you like secretly put 3 things down and you flip them over, and it's kind of like a rock paper scissors thing where you could beat them or they could beat you, and if you win, you get to do the actions on it. But you like throw the other person around, and you get bonuses if you bounce off ropes sometimes, and.
I did see somebody on Board Game Geek listed this as their number 4 game or something like that from Gen Con, which makes me think that the games from Gen Con this year were not so great.
It's actually not too bad though. So it's by Gale Force 9, who was traditionally known for. They did like miniature game accessories. They would do like templates and rulers and things and like add-ons for Warhammer 40,000. I don't know how they got into board games, but they did. What was the first one they did that was like
Spartacus?
Spartacus was based on a TV show that I haven't seen, but from what I understand, it's A, a really good game even for people who haven't played it, and B, like it really captures the theme. They did Firefly, which a lot of people liked,
which we have.
It's not bad.
It's all right. Yeah.
They did a couple others. Like, they came out with Homeland at this one as well. But they're actually really good at, like, taking a licensed game and making it into a good game, which is...
Right. And they now have a license for Star Trek, so I'm very excited to see what they do with this.
But anyway, so the funniest part about this was, in wrestling, you do a 3 count and you win, right? And so to do that is, if they pin you at the end of a round, you can either play a kick-out card, or if not, you have to flip over cards from your deck. And if you get a kick-out card in the first 3, then you kick out and you keep going. Otherwise, you lose. And so that's part of the game is you whittle down their deck and get rid of some of their cards, and then they can't do it. But we're in the middle of one of the halls, and whenever that happens, when other 2 people are playing, I'm like 1,
of course,
2, and
still only the person directly across from you could hear this because
it wasn't that loud. But anyway, that was really fun. And I played this game called Fairy Tale Battle Royale or something to that effect. It was interesting. It was very much like a Flying Frog game, but it's all like you play as fairy tale characters and you're like on a Hunger Games, try to kill each other thing, or you can kill off the trio of evil queens. But you run around and it kind of builds the board, and you get missions and you encounter other people and you can build up your team. And it felt very much like a Flying Frog game. We were like, I'm just going to roll some crazy dice.
Silly events happen and you roll a lot of dice, and there's not a lot of strategy.
And it takes forever if you have too many people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was fun. I don't think I would get it, but it was interesting to play.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anything else from Gen Con? Yeah, it was crazy crowded. I don't even know if we're going to go back next year.
Yeah, right now we kind of have no plans to go back.
Like last year, last year's Wednesday was fine, and then Thursday was fine, and Friday was a little crowded, and Saturday was crazy.
Got crazy.
This year's Friday felt like last year's Saturday, and this year's Wednesday felt like last year's Thursday, so it was just like getting worse and worse. And there were an extra 5,000 people over what it was last year, and they didn't add any space whatsoever. So it was just an extra 5,000 people.
And I also felt like they moved a lot of the demos out into events.
Probably to try to make more space for vendors.
Which
they're harder to find.
They were hard. Yeah, exactly. You couldn't part of the thing that we liked in the past about Gen Con was just like discovering things and being able to play a new demo. And this year we didn't really have that opportunity because there weren't as many games that felt like there wasn't as much space to demo games in the hall. Yeah. And then if you wanted to demo it outside of the hall, the events were already booked up. So. To be fair, that was partially poor planning on our part. But it's just not the kind of experience I think that.
Well, I kind of like going out and discovering things because it's hard to know what's cool and what you want to do, and we had a lot of the people we knew who went ended up staying outside of the city, and so by the time they would come in, they hadn't gone back at all, and by the time they were they were just dead.
Yeah, part of the things we like about Gen Con is we have a lot of friends from the East Coast who we don't get to see that much anymore, and it's time for us to all be able to game together. But then when everybody's too tired to game, it's not as fun.
You know what's really cool was the auction. I didn't go to the auction last year. Last year was our first year.
I didn't even get to go to the auction. So
if we do end up back again, you can check it out because it was pretty cool. It was kind of interesting to just sit there and watch them talk about stuff. It was kind of neat.
I believe it.
All right, so we got back and we were super pumped about
board games.
About board games in general. So you want to run down?
Because everybody on our Twitch channel knows we've not been playing a lot of video games recently.
Do you remember just quickly rattle off some of the things we bought?
We bought.
Got Pictomania. What's that about that?
We got a lot of stuff, but I already forgot what it was.
All right, we'll just go over the stuff we played. So just buying it's not super interesting.
How about that?
So we finally started our Imperial Assault campaign, our Star Wars Imperial Assault campaign. We've had it for a long time.
We've had it forever. We finally dug into it.
And we've had different friends we wanted to do with it who keep going out of town alternatively. So we finally just said, forget it. We're going to do it all at once.
We played 2 dungeons so far. Adam is our mastermind.
Yeah. Descent was already good. Descent 2 improved a lot of things mechanically, but I think took a step back in terms of the scenarios. They all became very short and gimmicky. It's just if you're playing with a bunch of really smart people, you go, oh, well, this is how it is, and if we kill that guy and get past here and roll good, then we win, and if not, we lose. Yeah. And we all go, yep, let's see what happens. And so that's not terribly interesting. But they made a bunch of changes to it, and it's really cool. And it's Star Wars, which is...
In Star Wars, to me, I really don't care for fantasy themes. A bunch of people are going to complain about that probably. But the Star Wars theme to me is a million times better. And
it's literally the best possible theme anything could have.
We already have Chewbacca, which I am super pumped about. And Adam's also super pumped about because that means that he gets to play a bunch more really bad.
I mean, I can put an ATST on the board every scenario, basically. That's outdoor.
So, yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. That's fun. We'll talk a little bit more of that as we get into it and build our characters and stuff. So you talk about Eldritch Horror. Because
so we got this Strange Remnants expansion for Eldritch Horror. And we played that 2 days ago. We filmed it. We might eventually edit it and put it online, even though we messed up a million things, and we always do. I still enjoyed it. We played with the new characters. We played with the ancient one, which also included the extra the deck of encounters that come with it. So I would say it's probably my least favorite of all 3 expansions that have come out now for Eldritch Horror because I felt like the encounters didn't feel very like there's encounters for like Stonehenge and the Great Wall of China and Moai heads, and they didn't feel specific to the area they were in. Most of them were like,
even though each card was on a specific thing, it could have been very specific.
Most of them were like, there's a group of cultists chanting, and it's like, but wait, I'm in Eldritch Horror. There's a group of cultists chanting everywhere.
You go into the nondescript ruins.
So I was hoping for a little bit more from that. I actually liked the Ancient One. I know some other people didn't, but I thought it was really cool. Like thematically, I like the idea that then this portal opens halfway through and you're trying to spend time sealing it, and spoiler alert, we did not. But I thought that was fun. I liked the new glamour spells that it included. I liked the relics items that were introduced. But I was really excited about Moai Heights, and I was kind of hoping for more in that respect.
We picked up Elder Sign with the Streets of Arkham expansion. We played through like half a game of it. I had played on the tablet before, but we kind of got it to you've heard that the Streets of Arkham expansion makes it a little more thematic.
I heard it was like a mini Arkham Horror, and of course I like both Arkham and Eldritch Horror, and they're both very long to play, so I thought I might like this. And honestly, I think I'd rather still play a game of Arkham Horror or Eldritch Horror.
But
I think it'll be, if we're shorter on time, we'll definitely pull this one out. I also think it'll be great for traveling because it's so small.
That's true.
I don't know, honestly, the Gates of Arkham as the Arkham encounters, I'm not sure I ever see myself playing the base game because it seems kind of boring to me, but we'll see. At some point, I might.
Alright, so we played one round of Pictomania, and then people showed up and we had to switch to something else. It's a Vlada Travato like drawing game, like Pictionary, except everyone draws and guesses at the same time, and there are crazy rules, and I think it's really cool.
And I super lost because I spent about 10 seconds drawing my drawing, and everybody else spent 2. So it was by the time I was done drawing, the round was over.
We'll try to get to that, but it's fun.
Yeah.
We got back to playing a game of Zombicide, which was fun. Met up with some friends at the local game store.
Yeah,
it's a good co-op game.
We have the first season basically with the expansion that came with that season. It's a good co-op game. It's a good 6-player game if you play the right scenarios, which there's like really very few 6-player games that you can actually play 6-player under 2 hours. So yeah, I like it for that.
Yeah, we had 6 players, so it was good. The next week, the same group, coincidentally, we played Dead of Winter. I guess it was just zombie themed, but also fun.
I like Dead of Winter.
You're excited about future Crossroads
I'm really
games.
excited about future the Crossroads mechanic, I think, is excellent. Like, you spend your whole turn going, am I going to trigger it? Am I going to trigger it? But maybe I do want to trigger it because maybe it's good.
It's this thing where just like the person to your left draws a card and it says, if this conditions are met, then read this card. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but it adds like flavor and tension in with a really simple mechanic. So it's just cool.
And I like the idea that everybody has a different agenda, even though you're still working co-op. Some players will win, some players won't, depending on what their agenda is.
We played Betrayal at House on the Hill. Always good. I think it was a new scenario.
Yeah.
It took forever to finish.
It really did.
But, it's just always good.
I always like playing Betrayal with a new gamer. Because there's a story element to it. There's a tiny bit of strategy, but not much.
Everyone's co-op in the beginning.
And everybody's co-op in the beginning. So everybody's sort of like, you're working together, so you don't feel like...
In the part where you're teaching them how the mechanics work, it's co-op, so they don't have to distrust you. But then you still get the sort of like everyone against someone and the competitive aspect to it afterward.
Right.
But you get the advantage of being able to teach them when it's co-op.
But it's definitely not a highly strategic game. Like, if you're looking for a game, Betrayal would not be it. But like I said, I like it as a playing with new gamers kind of experience.
It opens their eyes up to like possibilities. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
All right, so why are we all into Netrunner now? I don't even know.
So we're moving on to LCGs now.
It's the only one in the category. But
why are we into Netrunner? Oh, because the old Hollywood data pack came out, and I was reading about Fantasy Flight for whatever reason, Gen Con, and I started looking at the cards for Old Hollywood, and I went, these cards look really cool. I forgot how much I really enjoy the Android universe.
It's really cool.
And so I started looking at the game again. Now, originally we had bought Netrunner back when, like, the core set, back when it first came out, and we played, like, 2 games, and Adam destroyed me. And I said, okay, that's it, I'm done. I'm not going to play these kinds of games anymore. But I started playing a lot more games since that came out, and I started being able to sort of see, like, since I played a lot of Imperial Settlers, I've sort of, like, gotten at the idea about deck building and how the combos in decks can work together. And
how you make different strategies based on which cards you have.
Exactly, like, based on what you draw, it will change what your strategy is. And because I played so much Imperial Settlers solo, I started to get a feel for how you could play an LCG. So
it's always been kind of rough because, I mean, like, I played Magic when I was growing up, and so I got the idea of, you know, you pick the cards you like, and, you know, you deal with random hands. Right, so I've been playing role-playing games, miniature games.
I played some basic Pokemon.
Magic and other games since I was younger, and so even if it's a different game, there are a lot of concepts that you just sort of, you get through practice that you didn't have as much of. So.
Right. And I was also turned off originally by the bluffing mechanic because I hate bluffing.
Yeah.
But now in the games that we've played since then, I felt like I didn't really.
As long as you're not playing Jinteki.
As long as you're not playing Jinteki, I felt like I didn't really need to bluff all that much. So what we've done now is we've played different factions from the course, just using the one core set against each other. And now what we're going to start to do is play. We're each going to pick 2 different decks to play. So I'm going to pick NBN and Criminal, specifically thematically, not the least strategic Netrunner player, pretty much.
I think I'm going to pick Hasp Byroid because I don't like the Jinteki playstyle where it's got a lot of, like, bluffs where, you know, it could be a thing you're trying to score that they can steal, or it could be essentially a bomb they run into. So that means we're with Wayland or Hasp Byroid, and Hasp Byroid's cooler. So
yeah,
and then I like Anarch. Anarch was really cool. I played just the playstyle was kind of neat. So we'll see how that goes.
So we'll start, I think, with those sets for us, and then we're gonna play a new game with a new data pack.
We'll play a couple games with, like, the new set, and
then
add in another data pack.
Building our deck, and we'll see. So we have, and we're having a second core set coming. And then we have the first data pack, and we'll see what happens.
We'll keep you updated. All right, so this is all me here.
RPG.
Role-playing game, like pen and paper ones. So we have our weekly Skull and Shackles Pathfinder game that we stream on Twitch every week on Mondays. It's been going well. We just finished the second PDF. The second PDF wasn't as good as the first one. So the idea is the players are press-ganged onto a pirate ship, and then eventually... spoiler alert, I guess, for Skull and Shackles. They mutiny and take over the pirate ship, and then they become pirates and go around and do stuff. So the first PDF was fun because it was like they were press gang, but it's not like the typical, like, you're the heroes, do whatever you want. It's just like, well, if you step out of line, you're probably going to die. And so they got to be pirates, and there was this whole thing. And what probably should have taken, like, 3 sessions took, like, 3 months because they got super into, like, playing pranks on the other crew members and trying to befriend everybody and... you know, doing stuff, and then they mutinied, and that was fun, and then they, like, got shipwrecked on an island, and where they got, you know, so they got the mutiny. But then the second PDF was supposed to be like this, like, sandbox thing. It's just like they can raid coastal towns, or here's, you know, 6 different pirate ships for them to raid. But once we did one of each of those, it was kind of like these are really not that different, and so it got kind of boring. And then they're like, you're attacked by this person who has a treasure map. Do you go find the treasure? Like, well, yeah, okay, we'll go find the treasure. And it was like...
a pirate goes find treasure.
Well, it was just weird because it was just, like, thrown at them out of nowhere. Like, it wasn't, like, them choosing to do anything, so... But the third one looks awesome. It's like they have to present themselves to the Hurricane King, the king of the Pirate Council, and then they go on this crazy, like, race around a hurricane and try to join the Pirate Council, and... that sounds awesome. So we're going to see. And then last night, we actually tried a one-off game because we're between PDF called Inspectors. This is something Stephanie found, but it's basically you play as Ghostbusters. And so you get to kind of, the idea is it's a role-playing game that has a GM, but it requires no preparation because you just randomly roll what the the client who comes to you and he goes like, it's a student who hears a creepy noise in his house, or whatever, but then when they succeed at something, the players succeed at something in terms of researching it or trying to advance it, they get to choose where the story goes. So they can choose if it's a ghost or a vampire or a demon or whatever. And so it was fun, yeah. And it was pretty silly. We're gonna put that up at some point too. I'll just let you watch that. But Ghostbusters are awesome. This game was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Video games?
Alright, so video games, we haven't played so many.
It's not been a huge video game month for us.
Yeah, so we have, on our Friday nights, we usually pick a new game to play. We've been playing through Textworthy Tesla Effect.
It's pretty long.
And it's been super long. So I think we've played it like 6 weeks now or something, and we're still only like
2 hours and
2/3 of the way through. I mean, we're doing it casually. I think some nights we've only played for like half an hour, so there is that.
But it's full motion video, which was this thing that was like in the 90s. Like people thought it was going to be the next big thing. It's where like when you're running around interacting with stuff, it's just like a 3D first person kind of view. But then when you have dialogue with someone or whatever, it's all done in video, like full motion video of people. And so you go like, "Hey, how are you?" And you click on that option, and then it's a video of a dude going, "Hey, how are you?" And it never really panned out, but this series of games was full motion video, and as the fans kept and
it was kickstarted, and it was kickstarted as full motion, like the first full motion video game in 10 years or whatever.
And so it's retro to a thing that wasn't really popular, which is just funny by itself. But it's a fun game. It's funny. It's like cyberpunkish. It's a good story. It's not bad by any means.
I'm enjoying it. There's just a couple of finicky puzzles where I'm just like, oh my god. So
blocked by lasers and
anything that requires dexterity is because the mechanics of the game aren't great for action or anything like that. Anytime you have to do a dexterity puzzle, it's really awkward. So I have a really hard time with it. So I actually, while we were playing this through, I started playing two of the previous Textworthy games. I've been playing Under Killing Sun and then the Pandora Directive. Because I actually somehow was a child of the 90s adventure gaming era and never ended up playing this game series. So I don't know how that happened. But I finally played through them. So I actually, during the dexterity portion of Pandora Directive, gave up and just watched I was pretty close to the end. So I just ended up watching on YouTube what the ending was. So, but otherwise, I enjoyed those two games. I think I enjoyed Under Killing Moon the most. And obviously we're not finished with Tesla Effect, so I can't really judge about how I feel about that game yet. So.
Yeah. I started playing Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, which I got with one of those crazy Star Wars bundles that came out. It's alright. It's funny. Do lightsaber Force stuff, but it's nothing particularly great other than just being Star Warsy.
Yeah. You can't alt-tab a game without it crashing.
That's also probably an older game, so these things happen. I started playing Darkest Dungeon, which I picked up a while back. It's a roguelike game where you recruit heroes and go into a dungeon and they're probably going to die, but it does interesting things where your characters get stressed in addition to taking damage, kind of like an Arkham thing where you get where you have both mental and physical health. But as they get super stressed, they get mental conditions, and so my one night guy who leads my party sometimes is a kleptomaniac. So sometimes when you open a pack, he just takes it all. And it's an odd game, but. I've never really played any kind of roguelike games like that, so it's fun. And the art style is very cel shaded and 2D, but neat. I don't know. Yeah, it's a good game.
I started replaying an old adventure game from 2010. It's not that old, but on the Nintendo DS, Hotel Dusk Room 215. It's old enough that they made a sequel and then went defunct several years ago. So I'm replaying through that now. I don't know if I'll finish it because honestly, the dialogue is it scrolls this slowly, and then you have to press a button to tell it to go to the next line, and then it scrolls this slowly. So it's got some pacing problems, but it's a fun little noir adventure game that's good for. It's on the DS, so it's good for when I'm like traveling or such.
Yeah.
So.
And we keep playing SWTOR.
We've been playing SWTOR with our brothers. Yeah, we've been playing like an hour a week. Like haven't made any significant progress there. So.
It's still fun.
Yeah.
Besides the expansion. All right, miscellaneous stuff. I painted the entire Imperial Assault starter set in around 7 hours, maybe a little less. And we recorded it as a tutorial video, which should be coming out at some point. It's a lot of editing.
There's so much editing. I will definitely not say... Yeah.
But I used to work at Games Workshop, and part of what I did was teach people how to paint models. And there's a lot of techniques you want to use that basically require a very minimum amount of skill, but look reasonably good and are fast, because if it takes too long, people get frustrated. So I try to do that. They actually look pretty decent.
Yeah.
And again, 7 hours for the whole thing.
I don't paint models, so to me they look awesome. So.
Right. But that was fun. And then that kind of inspired me to do some more painting. I painted some War Machine stuff, Khador starter set. Started painting some of the models from Arcadia Quest, which were like those little chibi models. That was kind of an interesting new style to paint. I painted up models for people's characters in the Skull and Shackles role-playing game. So they all have a custom model, which is cool. We got a new player, so I had to get him a model. But yeah, I've been kind of just, and I have a bunch of stuff, like I have some Infinity stuff that I've been interested in for a while, and that I finally got primed and ready. And I bought some stuff for Guild Ball, which is a new game from a couple guys who are real big fans of War Machine. And it's like a sports game, but you still like attack each other. But you might be interested in it just like kind of academically, but it's got this mechanic where each player has a card, and it's got columns on it, and you roll dice, and you either need a 5+ for a success or a 4+ for a success. And if you get 2 successes, you can pick something from either of the first 2 columns, and if you get 4 successes, you can pick something from any of the 4 columns. If you only have 3 columns and you get 5 successes, you can pick 1 from any column and then 1 from the first 2 columns again. But what it does is it allows them to, by having that simple mechanic, like the dice rolling is easy. It's just like, what's my skill? 5. What's your defense is 4, my target number is a 4+, and you roll. But it allows them to like infinitely expand how they're gonna, like, what characters they want to make. They can just make this grid. They can have as many columns or rows as they want, and they can add new skills, and all you do is just throw it in there. So it really makes it easy to expand to new things without having to rewrite the rules, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
And something we got at Gen Con that was not entirely gaming, well, it's gaming adjacent.
It's miscellaneous, gaming adjacent. We got the laser cut. We got a laser cut organizer from Broken Token for Imperial Settlers, which was fun because previously we've made foam core organizers for some of our board games, and they're very time intensive. And kind of rather difficult to make. Like, it's pretty easy for us to mess one of them up, and then you have to like spend so much time fixing it, and it's a pain. So it was exciting to get some sort of custom organization solution that didn't require us having to spend 10 hours working on it. That's the bright side. The downside, of course, is you're spending almost as much as you bought the game for in order to get a good organizer for it. But,
and of course, we got it for Stephanie's favorite game, Imperial Settlers.
Yeah. Pretty much. Well, that's partly because there's, I think there are very few games for which baggies and Plano boxes don't work out for us. But that was definitely one of them, because trying to reach into the Plano box to get the tokens was really a giant pain, and nobody wanted to do it. There's some other games, like Eldritch Horror, I think, is a good example of a game that I really wish I did have a foam core solution for. I don't even know if anybody's made a laser cut solution for it, but if there has...
It's hard when they come up with new expansions.
Exactly. They're constantly changing it. So, I would say it's definitely something that we started to think about learning how to do it ourselves. But at this point, getting our hands on a laser cutter would be difficult because, like, our library or local maker spaces is apparently a place that people go to, but ours doesn't have it. So it's not something that will probably happen in the near future.
And the last little thing was I worked at a Games Workshop. I have a lot of miniatures, especially from Games Workshop. They would let us buy them by the ounce, and they were like 6 cents an ounce. They're like, I want this bag of metal models. It's normally $300 for 6. So like before I left, I bought
not quite, but okay.
Some of them it was.
All right.
Like it was crazy. And so like before I left, I bought like $1,000. I paid $1,000 for what was probably $10 or more $1,000. Like I shouldn't have done it because I was like in college and I didn't have the money. But it was basically anything I thought I would want, and I was like, I'm never going to get it cheaper than this. But it's just been sitting around in my closet for like 15 years now. Maybe not 12 years maybe. And so at some point I was like, I'm not going to use this. So I sold a bunch of them off on eBay. I sold like 40 lots of models. Just to kind of clear it out. I feel like we might do the same with our board games at some point.
Yeah, I don't know if those will sell as well though, because frankly you can get a lot of them for relatively cheap, and the cost to ship a board game is
kind of
large because they're so big.
They're not light either. But yeah, so I mean, I kind of did a purge. Got rid of some stuff I didn't, it was nice to sell it, but it's also nice to kind of just clear it out and be like, okay, this is the space I have. These are the games I'm actually gonna play.
Yeah.
So it was nice to
I was getting
hone my collection.
It's getting a little unruly in there, and so I agree with about board games. We got like 3 board game closets going, so.
People are interested in...
And we only play out of 1.5 of them, so...
If people are interested in eBaying tips for my miniatures and stuff, let me know. But I figure I should mention it since it's gaming related.
All right.
I think that was all. It was a crazy month.
It was a crazy month.
So, but that was fun. If anyone has any questions about any of that stuff, just let us know in the comments here. If you want to let us know what you did in August, put those in the comments too.
Cool.
See anything else? Go to the website, tegratings.com, tegratings.com, to get custom board game ratings. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter. Like the Facebook page. Get a tattoo of my face on your bicep. Anything else? Maybe not that last one?
Maybe not that last one.
All right, it's up to you.
I think right now the most active will probably be on YouTube, but
it's true. All right.
That will change.
All right, and look for some of these videos we promised to record. All right.
Yeah.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.